Welcome back to Diesel Creek. My name's Matt. Behind me, a Caterpillar D8H, specifically the 46A variety. As you can see, this beauty has been hiding over here in the healing weeds for some amount of time. So I don't have a positive confirmation on exactly how many years this thing's been sitting here. But if that tree's any indication, it's been quite a number of years. That's an elm tree, and albeit they do grow kind of fast, but not that fast. So I know a lot of you guys are following my buddy Sam's channel as well, and you may have seen he just picked up another Caterpillar D8H of the same vintage as well. That's no coinky dink. We stumbled upon these kind of as a pair, and he bought the one that he liked, I bought the one that I liked. They're rigged up pretty much the same, other than his has an enclosed cab. This one obviously does not. His is missing a bunch of the engine parts and has no hope of running. I'm hoping this one runs. So today we're here to find out. Now that you know the model and that it's been sitting for a number of years, you officially know the same amount of information I know about it. I bought it pretty much without looking at it. I stood about 50 feet away and said, yeah, I'll take it. Hopefully the engine is not stuck. Hopefully it fires up and drives out of here. The official story I got with it was that they parked it many moons ago due to low oil pressure. The way the injection pumps work on these tractors is if you don't have a minimum number of oil pressure PSIs, it won't let you throttle up the engine. So they said you'd be able to start this thing and run it for a little bit, but once you got the oil good and hot, it wouldn't have enough oil pressure to throttle up any longer. So I'm hoping that we can get this thing running and it'll run long enough to drive itself onto a lowboy and get out of here. There's a better look at our woody friend there growing up through the blade. So a few things cool about this tractor that the other D8s that I own does not have going for it. This one obviously has a triple shank ripper here. That can be pretty cool. The D9 has a big old single shank. Triple shank is really probably a little more appropriate for the ground that we have around here. It does only have one shank in it right now. How often am I actually going to be ripping rock? Probably not too often. So though the other two D8s that I own are 46A D8Hs just like this one, there are some subtle differences. This one is a later produced model. The other two I have are 1964 models. I haven't figured out the year on this one yet, but it's a later version, which means that it's a higher horsepower model and it has a longer track frame. I don't remember how many rollers are on either of them, but I think this one has at least one more roller than the other machines I have. The air cleaner being in the location that it is, kind of tucked up underneath the hood there on an angle, that's, I believe, how you can tell that these are a high horse model from a distance. Aside from the serial number, this one being a 17,000 serial number, my other ones are 8,000 serial numbers. So this is quite a bit further down the line. A neat bit of history if you want to come in here and have a gander is this tag on here that says Beckwith Machinery Company. And that used to be the predominant Caterpillar dealer in our area. Unfortunately, they've changed hands a few times, and these tags are very neat. I've bought a couple machines that had that tag on them, and by the time I went to pick them up, the tags were gone. I'm not letting this one out of my sight. I've been wanting to get my hands on one of these old plaques for quite a while. That's a neat piece of history to me that comes with the tractor. So I haven't really given this thing much of a look over at all. Like I said, I kind of bought it from a distance. Didn't even bother to walk all the way over here for the money we were talking. There's a toolbox here. There's not a whole lot in there, but it is a bit of a time capsule. Look at the Powerade bottle. Arctic Shatter. The Olympics. What year was this from? There's got to be a date on here somewhere. I'll try to Google this Powerade bottle and see if I can come up with a time frame of when this was produced, but it's for the Olympics. I'd have to say early 2000s, maybe even the 90s.
1999.
Big John says he found a date on that bottle, 1999. She's been sitting here a minute. That's pretty cool. So I mean, that thing could have been beating around in there theoretically for a little while before they parked it, but I would venture to say not too awful long. So I like a pipeline blade, like what's on the other two D8s that I have. This one is a straight blade that has tilt. I like these blades as well. As long as it's not a U blade, I'm pretty happy. The D9 has a U blade, and I really don't care for it. As you can see, nature is trying to reclaim this beast, so the first thing we're going to have to do here is yank all the nature back off of it. This machine is still set up with a pony engine. The belly pan looks like it's holding water, so it must have quite a bit of dirt in it. Hopefully the freeze thaw in the belly pan hasn't damaged the oil pan at all. I have not pulled any dipsticks on anything. I'm just hoping that the engine isn't stuck or full of water. From a distance, I couldn't see that the stack looks like that, so it's not impossible to think that we were getting water down in there. I'm hoping we didn't, but definitely not impossible. All in all, the machine is in very good shape. All the tin work and stuff is all straight. I don't think the grill's all smashed in. Because it has an attachment on the back here, i.e. a ripper, the fuel tank looks like it's come out unscathed as well. No major damage there. Yeah, the front end of this machine is also in very good shape. The grill is not smashed in or dented at all. Looks really good. The worst part of this thing that I'm seeing so far is the blade skin is worn through there in several gusset points. So really, the best thing to do would be to cut that skin off, clean all the crap out from behind it, because I'm sure it's full of dirt and rust and everything else, and weld a new skin on it. But we're a long way from needing to worry about that. We need to worry about getting this thing running and out of here. Anyways, let's fire up the Sawzall and start reclaiming this thing. No, we could have brought a chainsaw, but I got a new Sawzall that I wanted to try out.
Christmas was what, last week?
Yeah, sure. Christmas is whenever Milwaukee Tools go on sale, I'll tell you that. I have no sponsorship nor affiliation, but Milwaukee, if you're watching, we could be friends. Timber! So I'm trying to get the bulk of the tree out of the way first, and then I got to get down in here. These hydraulic lines are actually grown through the tree, so we're going to have to do some whittling to not break our hydraulic lines. They're in terrible shape anyways. I'm sure we're going to have to replace them, but it'd be nice if I didn't have to do that before I got it out of here. This thing's a beast, but a chainsaw would have been the better tool.
Matt's trying to kill the camera guy today. And that's where I was. Thanks, buddy.
You moved.
You didn't yell timber.
You moved before it timbered. I wonder what Kesh is doing today. I think OSHA would call this a trip hazard. I just call it a grapevine. Oh, we got one there. Should have brought a chainsaw. Man, that stack is not leaving me feeling very good. Oh, there's definitely a hole into the stack there. Oh no! This mission has just gone from feeling good to feeling questionable. That is not good, folks. This could be proving to be a much bigger project than I was hoping. Smoky. Oh, there we go. Now we got one line out. This other one's pretty darn buried here. This one here, pretty well incorporated into the tree. Might have to just cut above and below it and let it hang there.
Matt, you sure you didn't stage this whole setup?
Yeah. I know it looks like this is a staged, situation here, but believe it or not, this is organic. I think this is the definition of organic. There we go. We're close, John. You guys want to count the rings with me? Oh. Well, we finally have access to the control station here. Things are in primo shape. As you can see, our deluxe upholstery holding up well to the elements. This fiberglass soft top, this is meant to do is keep the sun and the rain off of you. It's not in the best shape. It does have a crack there, but it looks like it was there when they were still running it because they got it kind of braced up with a piece of sign metal there. I see we have a bird's nest back in here. Yeah, it's definitely been a while since anybody sat in the seat.
Roof sure is convenient with the rain starting.
Yeah, now that I'm under the roof, John can stand out there and watch me. There's a milk crate sitting here. It was sitting there. There's a can of starting fluid. That's a good sign.
You ready to check the oil?
Yeah, I'm nervous to do it, but yeah, I think we need to start thinking about checking some fluids here. There's still one more vine I gotta rip out over here. It's wound into the pinion engagement lever. Well, we got two oils on this side, those being the pony motor, engine case, and the transmission behind the pony engine. We're gonna go with pony engine first, and again, I haven't pulled any of these. I don't know what we're gonna be looking at here. Well, it's on the low side, but it is oil, and doesn't look like it's full of water. The dipstick doesn't have any rust on it, so that's another good sign. No moisture in that thing. I think the pony, theoretically, should be good. Should have brought some spark plugs. I didn't think about that. These spark plugs, the way they sit down in the head here on top of the pony engine, kind of holds water around them, and they get pretty rusted in there. Hopefully it didn't rust through. I don't think it did, but it can happen. I gotta pull this gear case back here for the gearbox behind the pony. It looks pretty good. There might be a slight milky haze going on in there. Not sure how well you guys can see that. If there's moisture in there, it's very minimal and shouldn't really affect anything either. Now for the King Kahuna, we gotta pull the main engine dipstick. And I was feeling good about it till I saw that hole in the exhaust. Now it's starting to rain and I'm feeling a lot less optimistic here. Oh, I'm nervous. I should have done a little bit more inspecting on this unit, but that's not a good sign. I can't get it out. Oh, gonna have to get some channel locks. Take two here. All right, it wasn't super stuck. Oh, I don't know, boys. These always read over full when they're sitting because there's no engine oil up in the top of the engine or circulating through all the oil ports. So you check these typically with them running. So there's full and we're like clear up here, so I don't know. Oh yeah. Yeah, we're about double what we should be. Feeling less good by the minute. I don't know what else we can do other than start fiddling with the pony engine. If it was a direct start, we'd be able to just hit it with a jump pack and see if it's gonna budge the engine at all. In this case, we kinda gotta do a lot of work to even see if it's gonna turn. We gotta get the pony engine running, which is a whole thing in itself, and then that turns the diesel, and there's no other way to try to spin the diesel without the pony. I guess theoretically you could put a giant bar on the front of the engine if you could get there from here, but I don't think you can. Nope, you can't get there from here. the whole hard nose thing plus the radiator, it all makes that just about impossible to put a bar on. I guess while we're up here being disappointed, I'm gonna try to dip the fuel tank and see if there's any fuel in it. I was hoping to use this piece of rebar that was laying here, but it's pretty well stuck. Yeah, there's actually quite a bit. It looks like about a half tank. Still smells like diesel. I mean, old diesel, but it's not awful. Well, at least I feel good about our fuel situation. So you're hearing me talk about a pony, and if you're asking yourself what do small horses have to do with this Caterpillar D8? Well, a pony engine, when you don't have direct start, i.e. just a battery system and you push a button and it cranks the engine over and it fires up, when you don't have that, you have what's called a pony engine. In our case, it's a 2-cylinder gasoline engine put in the same place that a starter would be, and you get the gas engine running and then you engage it to the diesel. It spins over the diesel, and the beauty of it is it's not only spinning over the diesel, it also shares the same coolant system. So the gas engine is warming all the coolant, and you're creating heat in the cylinders by cranking it over under compression, and you can warm the whole engine without ever even lighting it off on diesel. And then when you think it's good and warm, all you gotta do, give her some diesel fuel, and the big engine just takes right off. It's a good system when they're used regularly and tuned up right, but a lot of people don't like them because they use them like once a year, and they're kind of cranky if you don't have them fine-tuned. John's got me nervous now. I see a breather hole in the top of this fuel cap. I'm not as optimistic as I was a minute ago. Oof. I'm eating my words. She's pretty rusty. Didn't bring a secondary fuel tank. Also, the fun part, I don't think you can get this tank out without removing the hood. Things are really shaping up here.
These ponies have a fuel filter at all, or is it just straight line?
Straight line into the carburetor.
Yeah, it'll run until it won't.
Yeah, the best thing we could probably do in this scenario, try to blow it out with a compressor, because it looks like it's all dry in there, so blow out whatever debris we can. That's going to take a while. And then we'll just put some gas in there and try to flush it out the fuel line. Probably have to keep blowing out the fuel line. And after we run 25 gallons of gas through that fuel tank, it might be clean enough to run the pony for a minute. So to get this running over here, of course we're going to need some fuel. This is our fuel line, comes down into the carburetor. The carburetor seems to be pretty well stuck, so that's going to take some finesse. Our plug wires, they look like they're in usable condition, let's say. I don't know why they're not on the magneto, but the magneto no doubt is going to be pulled off and cleaned up with a file. So the magneto generates spark. There's a set of breaker points in there and a condenser, but the points from sitting will get a little oxidized, and you have to go in there with a file, clean up the surfaces of the points so that they make contact with each other, and then that sends the spark up to our plugs. Of course, none of that's any good without fuel, so we gotta work on that carburetor. That's true, we don't know if the starter works. I guess we should start there. I guess we can grab a jump pack or a battery. I do have a battery, and we'll see if the old starter is gonna give her a whirl. I just thought it might be a good idea to take a peek down this exhaust pipe, and I went to push the flapper down, and it was actually rusted in place. I had to push down pretty good to get it to move that far. As you can see, the spiders are gonna be thrilled if we get this thing going. Mud daubers, spider nests, all of it. I guess the other thing we should check while we're standing up here is our antifreeze. That can be an indicator of things going bad in this engine potentially.
People.
What the heck?
Oh, you see, sir, there's reverse threads. They swap direction halfway up. How's it look?
It's not good. I can't see any. Now granted, these radiators are kind of hard to see any coolant down in there because you can really only see through that peephole. If it's not right up to the full mark, Even if it just gets a little bit low, you can only see it through that little peephole. But I don't see anything. That's not great. If we get her cranking over and thinking about running, we'll check the bottom of the radiator and see if anything comes out. Make sure the system has something in it.
Just want everyone to know, Matt is pretty optimistic.
We're going full commitment here. I actually brought a battery. Instead of using the typical jump pack setup, we'll install a real battery and hope for the best. Our battery leads seem to be intact here.
You don't want to check that battery, see if there's voltage?
I'm confident that there's not. We can dead short it. What would you do if it just arced? Yeah, there's no juice there. I don't know that we're going to be able to get these terminals free. No.
No.
Not feeling great about that. It's just stripping out. Dang it.
Sign of how today's gonna go.
Yep, it seems to be. I like this action. It cleans up the battery terminal, loosens it right up. Look at that. There we go.
New battery time.
Oh, there's cockroaches underneath of it. Awesome. I'm looking for a date code on the battery. I always try to see how old the battery is a good indicator of how long something's been sitting there. Oh, that's going to be just dandy.
Torque to the proper spec.
Yeah, everybody loves when I beat on battery terminals. It's great. As the old saying goes, torqued or cross-threaded, tight is tight. Well, nothing's on fire yet that I can see. Let's bump the old solenoid on the pony and see if it spins. Well, the button on the dash doesn't work, and that doesn't really surprise me.
Nothing.
Seems like our solenoid might be bad here. Well, you know what? Maybe the lead's bad, because I'm not getting anything off of that either. Oh, you know what? There's a master switch. We're hooked up to the default cat wiring. Stupid me, we gotta turn the master switch on. Every one I ever work on is always bypassed. This one must not be. So, if this works, I'm gonna feel really stupid because the master switch is right next to the battery we just installed. Staring me in the face the whole time. So now it's on. I can see the key marks dangling there like they actually did used to use that. Let's try hitting the button now and seeing what happens. Oh, buddy. She doesn't sound real thrilled. Like she's kind of tight, but...
Buddy, you got your little exhaust flapper here?
Yeah, it's got some compression going.
Woo!
I mean, step one's a success. Let's drop the carburetor and figure out that, and then we're gonna have to clean up our points.
So you got your fuel line, and then what are the two other levers?
One's a choke, one's a throttle. If it's anything like my other D8, I never use them. They kind of just stay right where they need to be, and you leave them alone, and it's a whole lot happier that way. The fuel line is going to be the hardest part. I think the one on my other D8 is just cut right there, and then it has a piece of rubber line spliced in it, because that nut's always seized in these, so that may be what happens here if I can't get it free. But we're going to at least attempt to get it out of there without doing that. Not looking good. A little bit of heat, a little bit of channel lock. I recommend cooking your fuel line to a beautiful blistering 750 degrees. Really seals in the flavor. Right out of the skillet, we're gonna toss it in a nice penetrating oil glaze. Really breathe in the fumes, it's good for you. That's sarcasm, you probably shouldn't do that. Some people in the wonderful world of YouTube have never heard of sarcasm before. Lots of people take things very literally. Yeah.
Grinder?
Makes me the welder I ain't. Oh! 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 We got her loose! It's like the flats aren't where they're supposed to be or something. Oh, no, it's oblong from somebody squeezing it with vice grips is what it is. The nut is very oblong now. Too tight. But it's coming free, John. I think carburetor should come off of here now. We're just gonna have to work it out of the air filter. Yep.
Ooh.
Look at that.
Easy peasy.
You shut your mouth. All right, so all that retains the carburetor into the intake tube is a big O-ring. But from my experience, that O-ring puts up a big fight. As I'm bending the intake tube. Oh.
Got the fuel line out. You break it?
No.
You just bent it a little bit at that sport.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I brought fuel line because I thought that could be a problem. Oh, it's coming off over here. That works too. Or does it?
So for those who don't know, I'm pretty sure I've been in this exact spot with Matt on a D8 on a pony motor at some point in the
I don't
past.
think it's supposed to come off there. Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, what else are you going to do on Christmas break, John?
I agree. We're not to the new year yet, so we still have time.
Oh, there's a throttle linkage from the governor that I missed over here. Governor.
Is it still alive?
It's connected still. I just don't know how to get it off of there gently.
And he gets the torch out.
The regular heat wave in December. Speaking of that, December is for dozers, in case you didn't know. This is actually my Christmas present from Santa. He left me the coordinates to this thing underneath the Christmas tree. And now we're here. Wouldn't fit in the old sleigh, he said. So that's the linkage I'm fighting now. I don't think I have that on my other D8. I think it's just a pin with a cotter pin in it. A lot easier to disconnect. Hey, it's moving.
Very careful now.
Yeah. If we lose that, I'm gonna cry. 10 miles of thread to get this thing off of. Somebody heated it up with a torch, so it's too hot to touch. It's always a stupid little nut like this that'll take the whole day. Come on! There! Ho-ho! Didn't even lose the washer, John.
Look at that. Right, safely tucked away with that spark plug. Well, of course, remember that whenever it comes time to put this back together 2 weeks from now.
Easy, bud. We're putting this back together in an hour.
In an hour? Wow. Matt's rebuild service.
If the pony runs and the engine isn't stuck, I'm very confident it'll run. But if it's stuck, that changes the math a lot. One fouled up pony motor carburetor. Slap her onto the old clean room table there. Give her a rebuild. So the chocolator is working pretty good. The throttleator is stuck. It's full of goodness in there. I'm sure you can tell. We'll pop the bowl off, see how bad it is in there, and then just clean it out as best we can with some brake clean and compressed air. We'll go from there. These bolt heads are slotted, so after you break them loose, there's a prayer that you can just, yeah, look at that, turn them out with a screwdriver. These bolts are special like that. Got separation, looking fairly good.
sticky.
Rocket barb. Oh, there we go. Actually, you know, a little rusty, but not too bad. It actually all looks pretty good. Our gasket's not too fudged up. We should be okay there. I got to get the throttle loosened up and working, and then we'll hit it with some compressed air and a little bit of brake clean. I think we'll be okay. The fuel needle seems like it's stuck. Just got to make sure everything's workable and freed up.
You're taking the housings apart.
Nope.
To help you.
No, it's rock solid still.
Yeah.
I wish it would come apart, but I'm afraid I won't get it back together. Bench vise would be nice right now. Pull our main jet out here. See what it looks like. It's a little clogged up. There's a hole through the jet there, and it is plugged up.
You're normally the pack rat.
I think we might have some movement. If I'd have been thinking, I would have brought an already rebuilt spare carburetor that I probably have sitting on a shelf somewhere. Could have made our lives a little easier today. Paying my stupid tax. Well, you know what? The throttle plate's actually gone. It doesn't much matter. Alright, so I don't have a good way to show you guys right now, but the way the throttle plate works, it's kind of like got a spring-loaded baffle on it, so that even if the throttle linkage is closed, it'll allow some air to come through. And the little plates that are spring-loaded are gone. So it doesn't really matter if our throttle turns right now. It's going to be wide open no matter what. Everything's coming apart nice. Our emulsion tube, fairly clear. It's got a little bit of junk in it, but not much of nothing. Gotta chisel all the crusty rusty out of it. As long as we get all the flaky goodness, should be okay. Float seems good still. Fuel needle looks okay. Alright, I think we can just blow the rest of this out. There is a little fine-tune, what is that? Idle speed needle here. I think that's your idle speed, or maybe it's air fuel. Either way, it looks not healthy, and I don't want to risk damaging it, trying to remove it. It'll probably be okay for what we're doing here without it. We're also missing one of the screws that hold on this choke plate. That's not good. Time to hose her down. Got all the pressure now.
Thank goodness.
Well, I'm not going to tell you it's as good as going through an ultrasonic cleaner, but it's good enough for who it's for. So we're facing an issue that I've never had before. If you can see there, our fuel needle has become magnetized. And if it was going into a brass seat, that wouldn't be an issue. But the seat is metal. And it's actually holding itself shut. And it takes a lot of pressure to be able to just squeak a little bit of air by this thing. I know that the fuel is definitely not going to go by. That's a problem. How do we demagnetize this thing? I watched MacGyver do this one time to get a set of keys out of a manhole drain or something.
So the internet machine says you can use a commercial demagnetizer, a hammer, or by heating it to a very high temperature.
Oh, I don't want to heat it. How do we use a hammer?
How to use a hammer to demagnetize.
It really did watch MacGyver like magnetize something one time, just like dropping it against something like that.
Striking the metal with a hammer or subjecting it to mechanical shock can disrupt the magnet.
Yeah, see? So I wasn't too far off on the dropping it. Actually, it feels like the magnetism is coming off just from dropping it on the hammer a couple times. I just got to watch I'm not dropping it on the point of this thing so we don't deform it. Well, it seems like it's maybe less magnetized than it was. I don't know what else to do at this point. I can't really like hit it, because it's definitely going to damage it. All I can do is cross my fingers.
Here's a really, really dumb decision. You could stick it in the end of your... How big your... Oh, your one's not that big.
Fire it like a shot from a gun.
Yes.
I could use a socket to do that.
I mean, fire it at the metal.
Do it, John.
All right.
Just give her a good gust. Ready? 1, 2. I doubt it hit hard enough. It's still very magnetized in there. This is ridiculous.
Can you get a tighter fit socket?
I don't think we're hitting it with near enough speed. I don't know what to do. How does this happen? I don't like this decision. I just don't have another one to make.
I mean, maybe we're getting better.
It worked.
Kind of.
I was pretty optimistic there for a minute.
I mean, did it get better though?
I think it did get better. Why does that demagnetize something?
So it says the shock wave lets everything get figured out.
Well, we need bigger shock waves, John.
More hammer.
I don't think we're getting much wave because it doesn't have any resonance up against something like that.
I think it's...
Maybe it does. I don't know. I don't know what else to do at this point. I think we're just going to have to run with what we got there. I didn't see that one coming. That was not in the cards for today. Magnetized fuel needle and all. Oh!
Did it fall?
It kind of fell. Like, it didn't take much jarring. Yeah, I'm feeling good about it now.
All right.
So all we got to do is whack the whole carburetor with a hammer now when we want it to get fuel. Literally up here just instantly, like straight Mythbusters mode, like firing a fuel needle through a socket onto a hammer face, trying to
get the magnetism to go away.
Yeah.
It literally is magic.
Well, that is a rebuilt carburetor with a magnetized fuel needle. Hopefully it allows some fuel into itself. I guess now we need to blow out the fuel tank that feeds this thing and hope we can get some fuel from said tank to said carburetor.
And there goes your fuel cap.
There's a valve for the fuel tank here. I'm going to open that up, and then we're going to try to blow compressed air back up through it, make sure the line's clear, and then try to blow out the tank too. That sounds promising. So I blew the tank out as best I can. I can't really get you guys in there for a good shot. It's pretty tight. But it doesn't look quite as bad as I initially thought. The reason this one in particular is rusty is because there's supposed to be a soldered connection right there in this hole, which keeps the water from going through that cap, and that vents out through the side. But this soldered connection has been broken. The soldered connection holds on a chain that retains the cap to the tank, so it could be down in the tank for all I know. It does have a sediment bowl on the little pony tank, so hopefully that lets us get some fuel to the carburetor for a while before it clogs up. Put a bit in there. We got fuel shooting out of our fuel line. It actually looks clean too.
Oh my gosh, it's a river.
Full stream. I'm impressed. Shut off?
Yeah, it shut off.
Oh, look at that. The fuel valve even works. Oh, things are looking up. Well, I don't know that it's supposed to work this way, but this is a ball and socket on the end of this governor control linkage. And mine, my other one, just pops right out of there. This one here appears to be in good enough shape to where it doesn't. This bolt's lined up like it should go.
Tip the front toward down.
It's not, the threads are cross-threading or something. It's like Grandma used to say, torqued or cross-threaded, tight is tight. All right, so our fuel system's back together. Should be able to go on that. What we do need to do now is clean the points like I was talking about in the magneto and hope we get spark. Oh, I don't like those plugs. I don't know if I want to try to pull those plugs out of there. They look pretty rough. That was good.
Gone?
I don't want to say gone, but it's down there. Why did they put so many screws in these things? It should be like 2 clips like a distributor cap. There we go. See if I can get this off of here without damaging our gasket. Looks like it's already broken on the bottom. I didn't do that. Shouldn't affect anything. So inside of our magneto here, we have a contact rotor. This is what rides on the contact points to send spark up to the spark plugs. Back here is our breaker points. This is what we need to clean up. Those little points in there are almost always oxidized up and not going to let this thing run. I'm sure this is no exception. Oh no. John has just found another issue. Our cap here is missing one of the contact points. That one's worn pretty good and the other one is MIA. I might have to rob one of these off a parts tractor. Or off I have a spare one of those at the house. Didn't think to bring one with me. Oh, hey there. So you need a wire wheel to clean up your points file, to clean up your breaker points. This thing's been floating around in my toolbox and it got really clogged up with just junk and dirt from the toolbox, so I'm trying to clean it out so that we're not putting other residue onto the points and actually hurting ourselves rather than helping ourselves. Should be able to give her a go now. Oh yeah, you see all that dirt coming off on the file there? That means that these are oxidized up pretty darn good. Well, it's taken a bit of filing, but I think we're pretty well cleaned up there. I'm gonna have Big John hit the button, and we're gonna see if we have any spark down there at the points. I'm forgetting stuff here. You have to have the cap on to see if you have spark because the cap is what takes power from the coil and puts it up to the breaker points. All right, so John pointed out earlier that this little graphite contact here, what sends power up to plug number 1, it's in place as it should be, but this one up here for plug number 2 is missing. But maybe you didn't hear me say graphite contact. I got a pencil. We're not out of the woods yet, but I'm hoping I can whittle myself a contact that'll work for this, just to get us out of the woods, literally.
Any bets? Just put them in the comments right now, like if this works or not. Big John's opinion, we have like 0% chance, but Matt seems very confident. He's explaining to me how you can use graphite lead and a pencil to make resistors in a pinch and how this is just work, Jim Dandy, don't worry about it. So here we go.
I'm feeling pretty confident.
So this is Matt whittling. Never before seen on Diesel Creek.
I got my totem chip card in Boy Scouts when I was like 9, so I mean, I'm a shoo-in to make this happen.
And you know that if this actually works,
I'm never changing that.
he's never changing it.
That is going to stay that way.
Some poor person 40 years from now
Is going to be impressed at the ingenuity of the last guy that worked on that mag. The guys at my estate sale are going to be impressed at a lot of things.
So, is there going to be like the Diesel Creek badge collection coming soon?
Like Boy Scout badges. Got my 46A badge. Now, the chunk of wood I was hoping on fell off, but I still think this might work. Buddy, if that don't beat all. Oh, look at that. I mean, I'm not saying that's factory, but it's got to be close. The trick is going to be getting it to stay in there. I think I can make it happen.
I don't know, maybe magnetize it? Good luck, little buddy.
I was just about to say it.
You're about to have quite the shock of your life.
I did mean to bring some extra plug wires, but I forgot.
You know, you're so confident. Why don't we just open up the fuel valve, hook up the cables, just crank her until she starts?
I'm not feeling confident about that plug wire.
Oh my goodness.
It's still connected in there. I can see the core. Well, I guess this is the moment of truth here. We're just gonna turn the fuel on and see what happens.
All right, buddy.
What do you think? What are you gonna do if it just fires right up?
I'm gonna be rather impressed.
Me too, bud.
And then tell you it's lunchtime.
It is lunchtime. All right, here we go. Attempt number 1. Can I get a contact? We're gonna get a little ether. The choke butterfly valve, I think I said it earlier during the carburetor dissection. I said that the throttle plate was off. It's not, it's the choke plate. I misspoke there. So we don't have any chokeage right now. Sounds like it might be spinning over faster. I don't know if we can get any in there. Get some up there. Here we go.
I mean, there's something coming up out of the exhaust.
Not lighting off like I was hoping.
Spark plug's in the wrong spot?
It could be that, yeah. Good call, John. Ready?
Yep.
I feel like we had something there for a second, but not enough. Oh, that one's gone.
Glad you got to see us. All right. Intake filter delete package.
There's why it's not starting.
Why?
The carburetor float is not doing float things, and she is just loaded up with gasoline. Let's shut the fuel valve off there. I don't know. Let's check and see if we have some sparkage. The plug wires aren't exactly in great shape. Go ahead. I'm not seeing anything. Nothing. That could be the problem. Well, we concluded we weren't getting spark, but when I pull the cap back off here, I can see that our graphite insert is working good. It's got a contact pattern of wear from where it's contacting the disc. So I'm calling that a win. That's got to be, I don't think that's our issue. We're just going to go ahead and give her more file. Hopefully we get some spark. Got to get a little bit more aggressive this time. Go ahead. Hey, we got sparking. All right, John, give her a big go ahead. Contact. Well, A, I only had one plug wire on. Forgot about that. B, I think I'm going to switch them. Let's try that again. Contact. understand. We had spark, it should go. Unless those plugs are that fouled up. Go ahead. Come on. All right, I'm gonna connect the 24 volts to the battery. Right at the same time, John's gonna hit the button. It's gonna spin over a lot faster. Hopefully we hear something.
3, 2, 1.
Unfortunately, I gotta throw in the towel for the day. Got some places to be, but we're gonna be back and we're gonna be armed with some spark plugs, some plug wires, probably some other odds and ends that I can think of. We're not giving up yet.
So, just out of curiosity, you could take the plugs out, get this thing turning over, and just see if you can get the main engine to turn.
The trouble with doing that is sometimes the pinion doesn't like to disengage until the engine
Oh, so then it's
kicks her over. So we could theoretically stick the pinion doing that, which, I don't know. On these types, you can kind of whack the pinion back, but I still am just nervous to do that for the fact that it can really, really throw a wrench into things. Plus, I'm confident that even if the engine isn't locked up solid, it's stiff enough to where the poor little pony's going to have a hard enough time doing it running, let alone not running. I want to do that. I'm very tempted to do that, but I just know we should. All right, well, it's like, I think a week or two later now, and as you can see, there's a bit of a change of scenery here. It's been really, really cold. We've been in a bad cold snap. But today, it's supposed to get to like 34 degrees freedom, so tolerable to be outside in because it was negative 15 the other day. So I brought some spare parts with us that we needed, plugs, plug wires, and hopefully we can get this pony engine running, and then even better than that, hopefully we can get the big engine cranking today would be ideal. I am still seriously concerned that this engine may be full of water and locked up. It's definitely a problem if it is. Since it's been so cold outside, if there is any water down in the engine, it's going to be a block of ice right now. So we'll go try to pull the dipstick, and if we can pull it out, probably be a good sign if that means it's not frozen into a block of ice. Or maybe we can see some ice on the dipstick or something like that. But let's go check it out. Well, the dipstick came right out. It is pretty overfull. And it must be fairly thin oil in there too, because it's still pretty runny, and as cold as it is, I wouldn't expect that. But it's not frozen. I can't see any obvious signs of water, so let's still just keep hoping for the best here and try to get this thing going. I brought us a spare magneto, but I'm just going to switch out the cover for now because, you know, we had that whole pencil issue with the lead and the graphite and whatnot, but just to eliminate any possible issues, we're going to put a non-broken cap on our magneto. This old Bakelite plastic is pretty tough, but it's really old at this point, so it can shatter. There we go. There we go. A cover with all the graphite points where they're supposed to be. We'll call that an improvement. This whole mag in here looks pretty good. I know I had this one on the shelf because I tested it and it had spark before. So let's swap these covers out. I got plug wires made up. We got some new spark plugs that are actually the plugs that are supposed to be in there. So hoping for the best here. It was chilly last time we were here, but we didn't have to deal with snow. Getting rid of these old plug wires. All right, that's enough screwing around. Let's pull this cover off of here. I still got one hanging on. I hate these covers. They take forever. There we go. Got our new old cover going on.
These plugs didn't look too bad, but I don't know that they're the proper plugs for this application a lot of times. If you're anything like me anyway, you just throw in there whatever you got that threads in the hole. Of course, the ones that we bought are not the right ones actually. That ain't gonna work. So these are gonna have to. ChatGPT did me wrong. I asked it which spark plugs were appropriate. It lied. All right, so I just made up a set of plug wires. I didn't cut them to length or anything. And in the box was only straight fittings instead of the 90s that I needed, so they're not sitting on there quite right, but they should deliver spark just fine.
You hooked up to the right one.
We don't know which firing order is which. I assume this is number 1 and number 2 because, you know, that's the way most people do engines, front to back, but yeah, you know what they say about assuming. So we're gonna make sure we get some fuel in the tank still, turn on the gas and hit it and see what happens. Apparently where this goes into the carburetor there's supposed to be an O-ring, and apparently this wasn't seated all the way when we left last time. Water got down in underneath of it, and we got to take the carburetor down now to flush all that water back out of the carburetor. Pony motors love to run on ice.
Oh yeah.
Like a forbidden slushy in there. Oh, I hope that thing's not running out.
I think it was just from being laid over.
I'm just like waiting for the residual gas in there to light on fire.
Hey, it'll warm it up. Is the choke and everything moving?
The choke does not move.
You got throttle right now.
Ow! It's my fingers. Yeah, the choke's seized up solid. I beat on it for a while. We couldn't get it to move.
There's ice like down in there.
I'm sure. Oh yeah, for sure.
Verifying fuel flow here now. Very good.
It's an old-timey Caterpillar pipe. It's a large mammal that lives in the ocean.
We gonna try her out?
Yeah, let's give her. All right, so after your carburetor's de-iced, you're gonna want to reinstall that. Should be good to go. I blew it out the compressor too. Should be nice and dry. All right, we're about ready to give her a go here. I'm gonna have to do some manual chocolating with my fingers because the choke is frozen in the carburetor with rust, not ice, I hope. Sam's gonna hit the button. We're gonna see what happens here. Contact. Oof. That battery was right off the tender too. Unless the pony oil's that thick. We'll get that propane block heater on there. Oh, that's gasoline. And leaves.
We need to warm it up.
the hose though.
That hose needs to change anyway. We use gasoline to preheat our ponies here. Can't worry about that little fire.
Well, I know we have spark now. I was able to pull the plug wire off and check it on a bolt there. We got spark, so hopefully we get some fire with the spark this time. See what I did there? All right, I'm the manual throttle control. Can I get a contact? Oh! Oh, so close. I had too much chokage. Try it again. All right.
You gotta split the fingers a little.
I know, I'm trying. It's hard with gloves on. We still, is the fuel on still?
Yep. Do we need more gas in it though? Because we didn't put all that much in.
That's true. It's not flooded out, so.
Flood it out with ether.
Yeah, come on. Contact. She's hot. Go ahead. It wants to real bad.
I smell gas now.
I gotta take my glove off. We need a better choke package over here.
Fingers are gonna be icicles with the air
Yeah,
through them.
that's fine.
How lost cause is it?
I mean, it runs, so
It was liking it.
it sounded good when it ran. I'm really liking what I heard. I just need to hear more of it.
that really started her out nice.
Oh, buddy! We're getting fuel now. Now it's angry. We'll let it warm up a little bit and then worry about that. Yeah, oh, it's definitely going to be low. We're going to let the pony warm up a little bit. We have it disengaged from the engine right now. Once the pony's good and hot, we'll shut it down, re-engage it, and then try to crank the engine. That ain't good. It idles very nice, actually. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of... Yeah, same place. You got a high and low range selector here. We got it in low range because we figure the engine could be stuck, or if it's not stuck, it's going to be really stiff just because it's such a cold day. These are actually two separate linkages, and they're supposed to kind of move a little bit independent of each other. So Sam's working it around right now, trying to get those a little more freed up, and I'm over here just being the manual throttle.
Hey, that's a heater now.
Yeah, this is nice. That's full bore in low range. Oh, it came out.
I think we're plugged in now.
The engine actually turns. I was so concerned that this thing was going to be seized up because of that exhaust and because how overfull the oil is. The oil definitely could be thinned down. We could be getting diesel fuel in the oil, and it could be thinning out the oil. But hey, it turns. Everything else can be fixed. So we're gonna let it sit here and crank over for a little while. Me and Sam are gonna start making sure we have fuel up to our injectors and through the pump. And we should be having oil pressure building here soon. Oh, no. Pony could be out of gas though.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm excited.
I can't believe how easy it turned.
Yeah, it actually just kicked right in.
I was like, oh, are we gonna get this in? And then it started turning. I was like, oh, I guess
it's in. The D8, the first one that I got, the cable controlled one, it fought us a little bit to turn. It was definitely a little hung up. We had to put it in low range and really run the pony kind of hard to get it to turn at first. And then once it turned, it was okay. But this one seems to be spinning pretty easy.
Ain't got no gas in it. We got gas now.
I can't believe it ran through all that fast.
I would be kind of surprised.
I think it just stalled out.
I don't know. It sure sounded like either it got clogged up with rust in the line.
Well, I could believe that.
You know, that wasn't all the way open either.
Oh, that might have just starved it. Because I did have it wide open. It should have been really pulling some fuel.
I think I only opened it.
Go ahead. Oh, what a gem! Still not happy there.
What is between the forks on the right?
On the right. Go ahead, push it. I'm confused.
Yeah, like that.
so excited now. That means I'm fairly confident that the big engine's gonna run. Fairly confident. Stuck? So Sam's trying to pull the throttle back there and it's not wanting to go. That means our fuel rack is seized up, so we're gonna have to pull that apart. Probably should have checked that first, but we're getting excited and jumping the gun. What do you need, a 1/2 inch or 9/16? Sweet.
Haven't made lube much, just coming up with oil pressure.
Yeah, engine oil pressure's building. Sweet. Oh, there we go. Yeah, buddy. All right, we got throttle now. Sweet. So we got fuel pressure. We're getting fuel to the injectors. We're getting really close to trying to start this thing. All right, so the engine's cranking over in low range with the compression released, and that's warming up the coolant circulating through the whole block. Now when I flip this lever over, it's going to engage the compression on the diesel, and that'll start warming up the cylinders from the inside out as well. And then once we feel like it's warm, we'll probably switch it over to high range, and that's how you have to start it. I think that's a little seized up, Sam, if you want to give her a good shove. There we go, we got compression.
Shut that fuel off. She's still a little cold.
Definitely still a little cold. That poor pony's working. That's wide open, cuz. Pull the compression back out. Let's see what it does with high range. I think it's got to get warmer. I don't think that's going to be fast enough. You think? Yeah. Put it back in low, let it crank. I think you just get that oil good and hot. That'll help a lot. All right, I think we're about ready to fire it up. Sam's going to do the honors here. Oh, it was close. We got one pop out of her. So close. What a cool start that is. No way. Oh, man. Woo! Oh, sweet. An awesome cold start. The pony like cut out and died right as the diesel caught on like one cylinder. Sam saved it. Oh man. Awesome. What do you think, bud? That was awesome.
That was the coolest cold start I think I've ever seen.
The pony died in like the perfect time.
You just saved it. It had it on like one cylinder. It sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it does. I love it.
Well, it runs and we're ready to try to see if it'll move, but we still have a hydraulic line that's grown through that tree stump. A little upgrade from the Milwaukee we used last time. I'm going to try to wiggle a little bit back and forth, make sure we got forward and reverse before I even try to pick the blade for the same reasons as the Ripper. I don't want to blow a hydraulic line.
We're getting the devil's oil installed here.
We're a little low on tranny, real low on hydraulic, and the mice that we're displacing are very upset with us. They keep running around under here. Ooh, glug glug. Glug glug, tractor.
It's gonna take you all afternoon at this rate.
Hey, we're slow and steady.
Come on, cuz.
There's a funnel in my truck if you want to be a doll.
All right.
What would be the fun in that?
All right, well, D8101 is the seat actually comes off. Look at that, you're not 3 feet above it.
That's way more gooder. And I still can't hit it.
Let's say, roll that over, Tony.
No, we're only halfway yet. Still need it on this side.
Man, she is gonna be moving mountains this afternoon. You should have got a bucket of engine oil. We could have drained out the diesel gas oil mixture.
Actually, check the pony engine oil too, since it was spitting all that out. I want to make sure it still has some.
Oh, it's got some lube. What we got? Yeah, it could definitely.
Just a wee bit.
It could use some. I like a rain cap we installed. All the water was dripping off the hood and right into the pony intake. You finally got your Beckwith tag.
I know. When I bought that lowboy trailer off of Gina, it has a nice Fontaine tag on the side of it. I was like, that tag better be there when it gets to my place. Well, we're back. We put hydraulic oil in. We're ready to see if this thing's gonna fire back up. It should. Everything's nice and warm now. Contact. As soon as I engage the compression, it cut it out. Maybe the fuel line clogged up. Yeah, there's plenty of fuel in it.
We ain't got no gas coming out of it.
Yep. I figured. Yep. You dislocated the fuel cap, so you must have her.
Nope, yep, I got her now.
That'll do her. Attempt number 2 here. Contact.
So he's trying to pull the steering clutch and break it free. You can see all this is like frozen to the ground. And then the tracks are also frozen to the ground. But it's going a little more, a little more. Doesn't seem like it's lifting the blade very hard to me. I feel like all that is just kind of one. You can see that pad isn't moving at all. It's getting a little more, a little more. There it is. You got like a yard of dirt under the blade. You think you still need more oil?
Yeah, I think we might need some oil.
There's a lot of dirt under there.
They got a whole island with it.
Yeah.
Comes with real estate.
There's a lot of weight up there yet.
Sweet. Well, she had to work to get out of there. Look at, this was all the stuff that was growing up through the rip that we cut off last time. We're on our 4th bucket of oil now. But I think with this bucket, she's gonna be all ready to go. Ready to take this thing on a big stripping job, see? so excited about this thing.
You have so much dirt. It just like doesn't.
Yeah, there's like 8,000 pounds worth of dirt attached to the blade. Definitely lift that up. But I also think it might still be low on hydraulics. So I love bringing this in here. I cut that tree stump off so the line would be free. Turns out I didn't need to because I just took the whole stump with me. We're gonna have to let that thaw out a bit.
You gotta close your exhaust manually.
Sealed up. I think we might be.
I'm impressed all the hydraulic hoses survived.
Yeah, between hydraulic hoses.
When you were like really having to root on her, I was like, I'm gonna get a bath. Standing over here.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I am very happy with this girl. I was pretty nervous at the beginning. I didn't know if that engine was gonna be free.
Oh, come on.
What a treat.
Yeah, that's a win. Definitely a win.
Great success. Just a little bit of shaking around we did moving it over here. Look at all the wasp nests that fell down out of this pillar here. She'd been sitting a couple minutes.
Yeah.
So here we are back at ground zero. We took half the site with us when we left, but yeah, I always kind of like to look and see what this site looks like after you pull something out. It's been sitting a long time. Just twisted, mangled trees and limbs everywhere.
Good thing you had a belly pan, bud.
Yeah, that without a belly pan, we might not have had an engine. Well, here we are a few weeks later. As you can see, all the snow is gone, but man, I'm really excited about this girl. You guys heard it. It seems like it's running really well. We do have a little bit of low oil pressure, which I was told that's why this machine was parked anyhow. So I'm not really surprised by that. Hopefully that's all that this thing really needs. And it's a little warmer today, so we're going to fire it up in here in a little bit and see if it's going to lift the blade without that 10 yards of dirt froze to it. Hopefully the blade picks up easier because we were kind of struggling with the hydraulics there a little bit last we had it running. But I think that's going to be a wrap for this one, guys. So if you want to see more on the D8, be sure you stick around, hit subscribe if you haven't already. If you like this video, do me a big favor. Hit that thumbs up button down below the video. It really helps out the channel. Doesn't cost you guys a dime. If you'd like to help support the channel in a little more direct fashion, you can head on over to dieselcreek.com. Pick yourself up some sweet swag over there. We've got hats, hoodies, t-shirts, beer koozies, sticker packs, all that and more over at the store. That's dieselcreek.com. As always, link is down below in the description. So that's all I got for now. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you guys on the next one when we're going to knock the blade off this thing and haul it out of here.